What's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my weekly review for this week's episode of The Walking Dead Season 9. This is for episode 13, Chokepoint. Oh man, so spoiler warning. If you guys missed this episode, this is the Daryl versus Beta episode, which was absolutely awesome. Never had an episode go by so fast that I've seen in, I don't know, years for The Walking Dead, right? Or maybe since Rick's last episode. I mean, this one was so much fun. This was literally, I want to say, like, if it wasn't the absolute best fight of the entire series, it definitely is one of the top fights that we've ever seen in the whole show. The only other one I can think of was last year they did the Rick versus Negan fight, which was awesome too, and where Rick picks up Lucille and everything, and fire and everything. So that one was pretty awesome as well too. But this one was right up there as well. It's arguable over which one was the best. This one might have been better. I absolutely loved it, man, and so it was unexpected. I didn't expect to see Daryl actually win the fight and actually, be able to kind of trick him and then push him down the elevator shaft, which was really cool. And he gets kind of stuck down there at the end, but wakes up. There's blood all in his mouth and everywhere. That was freaking awesome, man. I absolutely loved it, and it did, man. Like, this episode went by like that for me. Like when the fighting started at the building. That Connie reveals in this episode that that they actually stayed there once, so they know the territory very well. It's sort of home ground for her, and so they have an opportunity to kind of set up beforehand and kind of get everything set. So they know where everything sort of is. But man, all the way through, I mean, every single part of it was just like adrenaline, awesome stuff. Oh, I really loved it, particularly with the Daryl and Beta fight when Beta slams him into the wall, and then afterwards when they got the knives, and they both have two knives, which was really cool to see. And Beta kind of keeps his hidden. We didn't even know he really had those. So they both have some surprises up their sleeve. But Daryl had recursive surprises. He had a few. There was a box inside a box inside a box. So you go from the one to start off. He's got he kind of waits, and there was some sick kills here, man. I mean, really some sick shit. I love the axe one was wicked, where like basically you see the sheets, so he can see the silhouette of the Whisper that's kind of coming through. He just smokes him with the axe. You just see the blood, like just the red all come out. Oh, that was so cool. And then of course you got the others that are coming in with Beta, so he's not alone. Or when he shoots off the first bolt, but Beta's tricky too, so he's got the thing in front of it like a shield, right? The wood in front of it, which basically takes it. And then really cool where he stabs him with the knife. Daryl stabs Beta with the knife, like right in the chest, and he's still walking around, he like pulls it out, throws it. Sick. So it's hard to make a case this isn't the best. It's pretty easy to make a case this is probably the best fight we've ever seen in The Walking Dead. I mean, it really was, man. That was freaking awesome. And then the other side of things was really exciting too. So they go in and the Whispers split off. Right, you got the one that goes. Beta's pretty smart. He's like, cut him off to let him get out any other way. They probably think that they're going to go up one way and then come down the other side. But no, he splits him off and goes half and half. And then of course Henry has some trouble. He gets the first one pretty good because he's kind of waiting, and it's a trap, right? So he gets the first one, which is good. But then the second one kind of sort of catches him. And then you have Lydia, who lets Dog out, which is fun, and Connie, who's super badass, right? We get to see in this one how Connie and the Magnus group were actually able to survive so many years in the zombie apocalypse, and that makes sense to me too. That she would be so badass, and she's good with the damn slingshot. I'll give her that. Right? It's not the coolest weapon to have, but she's super effective with it. Like the one where she smokes the one from behind, or the one that throws a knife at her and then she ducks it, or she ducks under it and then kind of comes back with them. So lots of countering and kind of back and forth throughout the fight as things kind of went through here. And then of course in the end we have Daryl versus Beta to wrap it all off, with Daryl hiding in the same spot. They set it up nicely that we saw earlier where she had the supply, so he's in the floor. Beta kind of walks over towards the spot that Daryl wants him, and then Daryl quietly comes up and kind of gives him a nice push into the shaft. Very cool. So, man, that was really exciting. They also set it up well in terms of Beta being so angry because, of course, as we saw earlier in the episode, that, when Daryl and Connie rescued Henry and Lydia, there were casualties of that on the Whisperers' side. So we did have some casualties from the Whisperers, and you had the one guy who we ended up seeing afterwards, and to add insult to injury after he joins the Guardians, which is just your walkers, so I guess the Whisperers call them their Guardians. They view them as sort of as part of the Whisperers and to protect them against others, which is true. Daryl actually bolts him, right? Like they're coming out, so it's the same guy, right? He comes out, he's part of the Guardians, and then Daryl gets him with the bolt, and then it's like to add insult to injury. Beta's like, this motherfucker, kill this motherfucker, to get this son of a bitch. So, and then goes in with all the aggression and everything, and kind of gets a bit overzealous here at parts, and Daryl's able to strategically take him down, which was, oh man, it was so cool, it was so awesome. So, you guys know I love me some action. It's one of my favorite episodes I think I've seen in a long time, and again, one of the best fights. I wish we could get some kind of fights like this all the time. Now, in order to set it up, it did feel it was a little bit strange, but it wasn't too bad. Now, what I mean about that is that it kind of felt like at parts that they probably could have just left and not confronted them at that moment, and they probably would have been able to outrun them to Alexandria, or they probably would have been able to get away from them. Now, there was a part where they didn't exactly know which way to go. Connie kind of said, no, that way, and Daryl's like, that way. So I guess Connie, maybe, so you could say in a way, you could kind of explain it away to say that maybe they didn't really want to necessarily outrun them. They wanted to kind of confront them because there's the fair going on, there's this other stuff going on, there's survivors from the communities out and about. So if they could take down Beta right now, which they sort of did, killed his whole group that he was with, all of his fighters, and left him for dead, which he'll get out, right? He's going to get out. But it was pretty cool to kind of just set things up. Now he's going to be even more pissed, right? So that was really cool, man. And I just, I kind of felt like at a part, it's like, I feel like they should be able to get away here, because it felt like they really were, they had enough distance in between them and the Whisperers are slow enough to where it's like they should be able to outrun them. Daryl kind of says that he's tired of running and that kind of thing, so he's had enough of it. But I don't know. I kind of felt like it's like they probably should have been able to get away. But okay, it's I definitely prefer to see this this way of going about things. Okay, so long story short, I loved all the stuff with the fight at the building. It was so cool. It was a cool environment to get to see. They choked off. The Chokepoint worked to close off the walkers that couldn't go up, so you were able to separate the walkers from the Whisperers, and the Whisperers were the only ones who came up. And Daryl and the group did a damn job, thanks to Connie mostly in this one. Without her, they would have been definitely overwhelmed for sure. So great stuff. I loved it. Just amazing, and I hope in the future we can see more stuff like that again, because that was so cool. What a great episode. It's one of my favorites of the season for sure. Just for that alone, it's a highlight. Because after they've done 100 episodes of the series, it's not going to be easy for them to create series highlights as they go through, like moments where it's like, wow, this is something that in years is going to stand out as like one of the coolest parts of the series. But certainly after seeing this fight right here, it was, because especially when they got both the knives out and stuff like that, it's like you have no idea how it's going to go. It's like, oh my god, Beta's going to kill Daryl. So it was so sick, man. I just loved it. So the other stuff, unfortunately, I have to say, to be full disclosure, I'm not a huge fan of the Highwaymen. They kind of feel like, to me, they're from Z Nation. Like somebody sent a Z Nation group into The Walking Dead. And if you guys have seen Z Nation, you'll understand exactly what I mean. Or if you've seen Fear the Walking Dead, the Highwaymen kind of feel like a Fear the Walking Dead group in The Walking Dead, in the original Walking Dead, which is strange to see. They don't necessarily, to me, seem like they really fit in the world of the original Walking Dead. The other stuff in this episode was so incredibly awesome that I guess it's fine, it's okay, and there was some kind of tongue-in-cheek fun moments with the Highwaymen, with Carol, where she's kind of like, have you guys seen a movie? So she comes at it like from this friendly old, motherly, type of thing. You can't turn that down, right? It's kind of like, it's like offer you cookies or something. It's like, well, they're ready to kill each other. Everything is going down. The leader of the Highwaymen is not happy. He draws his sword and everything, and it's ready to be a big fight with lots of bloodshed. And then here's little old Carol, offering for them to be able to see a movie and a job to protect the roads from the dead, and we get to see that afterwards, which was a nice kind of fit in. And Tara's like, "Who the hell are these guys, right? Who the hell are you guys?" So they've been given a task so that they can be a part of the fair. Whether or not they're trustworthy, we'll have to see, because they are kind of pirates, as Ezekiel calls them. But it was cute at the end, that they get that kind of moment like that in there. But especially when there's like all the dummies around and that kind of thing, and we're not sure how many of them there actually were. At a moment there, I thought in the episode there'd only be like a few of them, like 3 or 4 of them or something, like almost none of them. But they actually did have a decent amount in terms of number. And so Carol's strategy worked out pretty well. You give them a job, you do this kind of thing. That is, if they stay, is there loyalty among thieves? Not really. So it's kind of tricky, but at least for now, it saved some people, and then afterwards they were able to help Tara and the Hilltop group, which did not seem to be able to defend themselves against even one small group of walkers, which was kind of sad. But the Highwaymen were able to help them. So I don't know. It was okay, I guess. It's just that it was something like, it's just a group that, maybe it's because they're not in the comics, and that's kind of why I feel that way about them. That shouldn't be, because we should give them a chance. Like, we shouldn't say that, well, just because it's not in the comics, it doesn't fit in the world. It's like, well, it's not necessarily that. It's just because there was some comedy mixed in with it, and The Walking Dead is usually pretty serious. Like, it's usually pretty dead serious, right? So maybe that's okay to have a little levity. They've used that quite a few times with Ezekiel, being part of that, kind of that brighter, the kingdom kind of being a brighter type of community. So I guess it was okay. I didn't necessarily hate it, but it just felt a little bit strange to me. And like I said, maybe I'm biased, and it's because they're not in the comics and they would fit in just fine, but it just felt a little odd to me. So it's okay. So man, I mean, should we go through scene by scene of this one? I think I mainly covered pretty much everything as far as the major points of the episode. The further stuff we can do in Q&A, so you guys can leave comments below on any other stuff you want to focus on, in specifics. The fair looks really cool, and I loved the sort of statue they made, however they made that for Shiva. I thought that was really good. The tiger. Anybody who's not sure what I'm talking about, that was great at the Kingdom. And the fair looks really cool, lots of bright colors and all that kind of stuff. And it also makes sense now because we did see the leader of the Highwaymen in the trailer for this half, and some of us were thinking he might be like a whisperer in disguise or undercover or something. And it seems that no, that's not the case. It's this other separate group which nobody really saw coming or thought we were going to see. And again, it's what it is. It's okay, I guess. So the ransom reading off there, the Highwaymen, the design, we could see the design of them, their kind of marking or their symbol, and they don't seem like they're that threatening of a group, or they're that strong of a group. I think it's just that the survivors in some capacity at this time, they don't have any guns, so the Highwaymen, at least they have a few muskets or whatever they can get. So they've got what they have, and I guess it's enough for them to, and Carol to kind of say, well, maybe we don't need to kill them all. Let's try something differently, and her instincts were worked out well in this case. So great stuff, man. Love the fight. There's also the stuff with Henry and Lydia in this episode, which I liked. I thought it was all good stuff. Of course, you've got Lydia who's asking why she's doing all this for her, and so you get kind of the start of a relationship there, and then Daryl's like, hey, cut that shit out. We got to go kill some people. Come on. So there's that. Tara's group, the sickos coming in. Earl. At first, I thought Earl was bitten when I was watching the episode, but then afterwards, I guess we were led to the point that Tammy saves him, I guess, or that he's okay, and then the Highwaymen come in, so it's all going to be all right, I guess. And they're their escorts to the fair. So the only one that's not there right now is Alexandria, and of course Daryl and Henry and the others, which Carol also questions about. So I think that's good, man, to describe for the episode in terms of a recap. Obviously, I loved, so to separate it up, the stuff with the Highwaymen and the Kingdom was just okay for me. It was just all right. It had some kind of, it brought back some memories of All Out War, from what we saw, in All Out War, when they were first kind of coming in and stuff like that. Reminds you back of that. And then they decide, okay, no, we're not going back that way. Let's try a different way. So it's okay in that sense. I just felt like it's just like, I'm not sure how it fits, but okay, so that stuff was okay for me in the episode, but the stuff at the building and the fight between Daryl, Connie, or I think they're calling them now Donnie. I don't know. If that's going to be a thing, I don't know. We'll see. It might be all there is to it that we've seen already. So I loved all the stuff in the building. It was fantastic, amazing, and the stuff with the kingdom for me was just okay. Same with the hilltop stuff. It was okay, but definitely the Daryl versus Beta fight, and Connie as well too. You can't forget that was the highlight of the episode for me. So I'm gonna give this one a 9.8 out of 10. I thought that the stuff at the building was so awesome, so memorable that it pushed it up way further than it would have been had it have not been in the episode and it just included the other stuff. It would have been a super dry episode. But let me know what you guys think. I did enjoy it heavily. I loved the fight. Can't wait to see the rematch. Beta gets out of his pits like the Shredder. If you guys remember, like in the movie, like sticks his hand up. I was looking for a hand reach or something. I was like, oh, I know they didn't do that, but it's okay. Thumb up the video below. Share, favorite it. If you guys want to leave a tip, you can do so through Patreon. And ask me your questions for the Q&As this week, and I'll be back in about an hour for my predictions on what I think is going to happen in episode 14. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Let me know what you thought about it. And that's it for this one. I'll see you guys again soon for the next video. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon.